Welcome to today's session. Today we're going to talk about how to automate your professional services organization with Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. I'm Anil Shah, CEO at CloudFronts. We focus on solving complex business challenges with Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. Let's take any professional services company that needs to have an integrated sales to billing platform. Let's look at some of the things that they want to do. What's the critical issue? They need for an integrated platform to drive efficiency, decision making, and revenue growth. What are some of the project goals of such a platform implementation? Sales pipeline management from opportunity to order management, customer service platform from automated ticket creation to escalation rules to a customer portal where your customers can log their tickets. Project management with billing integration to ERP, analytics like team member allocation to drive decision making. The impact of such a solution post go live is a solution that meets the above requirements and then can scale as per the organization's growth and business requirements. So let's start with the opportunity screen. If you look at this opportunity screen, some of the changes we've made to the screen are we automatically bring in the contracting unit. We bring in the currency from the customer account. We bring the product price list, which also we set up on the customer account. And then we have an update for whether it's an MSA or not. An MSA is basically annual support contract. If you mark it as yes, then it will set the billing method to fixed bid. If not, then you have a couple of options for your billing method, which is time and materials or fixed price. You put in all the other information around estimated close date and revenue, and then you go ahead and save your opportunity. Now, we made some changes as well to the sales business process flow. So in the discover phase, we've added some nice fields that track some relevant data. For example, do we know why they want to change the system that they have today? Basically, what their reasoning is behind that, and is that a strong enough reason, predominantly around how they can drive return on investment by deploying a new system. Second, we put in some other things like, are we connected to the right executive? And then, traditional information like close date, revenue, and then when is the planned demo date? Once you fill in all these fields, then you can move to the next stage. If you look right behind it, you will see that I'm in the quotes tab, and my quote has been automatically created. So this is the second configuration or automation that we've done, that whenever we create an opportunity and save it, it will automatically create the quote. So let's go into the quote itself. So all the basic information in the quote is filled out automatically from the opportunity. And at the very top, you will see there are some more tabs called role prices, quote line details, and quote line. So let's go into role prices. For a professional services firm, role prices are very important because they determine what roles you're going to have on this particular project and what hourly rates you're going to quote to them. So this, what you see here is Power Apps Canvas app, and where we bring in the roles and the role prices from the sales price list that we had attached on the opportunity, which automatically came from the customer record. So you can make changes to the prices, or you can go ahead and add a new role price. So we're going to select a new team member and then going to print their price. Great. And you can go ahead and then save it. Then we go to the quote line details tab. So here we automatically bring up a set of high-level project tasks. And then you can go ahead and add your quantity. The price would automatically come from your role prices, and you can go ahead and then mark it saved, and it will automatically calculate your account. Or you can add new quote line details. Great. So these are two Canvas apps that make our process of quote creation easy in Dynamics. Once you do that, you will see that your quote line will show up with the correct amount and all the other details that you filled in. At the very top, then, you are now ready to generate your proposal. So we've added a button to generate proposal, which is basically going and running a Power Automate. So let's go ahead and click generate proposal, and what happens then is the system will generate the proposal, attach the proposal generated to the document library on the opportunity, and then it will ask you that, hey, do you want to go ahead and open that proposal? So let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see, it's brought in all this information from the opportunity and quotation, which is who the proposal is for, who the point of contact is, so on and so forth. And also brought in our quote line details, and then you can go ahead and make any comments, assumptions, any other notes here, and then your proposal is ready to send. Before you send it, any changes you do are automatically saved because the quotation or the proposal is attached to the SharePoint library on the opportunity. So there's nothing to save on your desktop. Dynamics 365 is your single source of truth. Great. Now let's go jump into the proposal itself. And you'll see that in the header, we hide a field with the quote ID, which is automatically brought in from the quote ID field in Dynamics. It's a little technical, but I get into the importance of that shortly. At the very top, you'll see that we've embedded DocuSign. So we use DocuSign for e-signatures. So now we go into DocuSign in Word, and then we can go ahead and ask our customer. We can add the signature fields, any other fields like date, etc. we need, and we can ask our customers to go ahead and sign it. When we do this, one of the customizations we've done is the moment we use this DocuSign to send out this document to our customer, we'll actually send an update to our team. We'll do a couple of things. We'll automatically mark the business process flow on the opportunity to propose, and that proposal send date is automatically captured from when it went out via DocuSign. And then you get a beautiful email like this that you see in the bottom here, where it says, hey team, the proposal has been sent out, and click to open the record. This is important because proposal sending marks kind of a high probability stage of opportunity closing if you have done the previous parts of the sales process correctly, which is qualifying the opportunity, doing the right demo to the customer, and then you're in the right step. Let's get into the Power Automate itself, getting a little bit technical now. So you'll see that we've got a Power Automate which connects to a DocuSign connector, which basically is looking, in this case, for when the envelope is completed. All that means is when all parties have signed that DocuSign, then what needs to happen? At that point, what actually happens is it looks at that document that is completed from DocuSign, goes into that quote ID that I just talked about in the quote header, or in the proposal header, and then says, okay, this document, which is completely signed, belongs to this quote, and that quote belongs to that opportunity. And so from using all of this information, it'll go ahead and attach that finally signed document back to the opportunity. And then you have a couple of options here, whether you can go ahead and mark the opportunity as one or the quote as one from Dynamics, or Dynamics can automatically mark it as one and send an email out to your team. So in this case, we're going to mark it as one on the quotation itself. It will mark the opportunity as one. And then what we do in our organization is we'll actually send out this, again, another Power Automate to update the entire team into the general channel, where you can see that the entire team is notified, hey, we got this deal. Here are some of the details. Go ahead and look at this customer. And this way you've notified the team. But from start to end, there is really no human involvement in sending email alerts or sending notification details or anything of that sort. And then the whole company knows. And I guess no better time than to know about this than the pandemic year when we are all in different places. So now that we won the deal, we go back to the quote that becomes an order. And then from that order, we drive our project creation. So I'll not get into the PSA part of it, but mainly we use PSA then to create the project, do our resource allocation, start our contract management, set up our milestones for invoicing and whatnot. We use Azure DevOps to run some agile sprints on this particular project. And then finally, after all this effort, starting with the opportunity to your code creation, to your project management, you eventually get into the analytics, which we use Power BI Analytics embedded into Teams. So I'll get into that shortly. Before I get into that, one couple of other things. So we also use Dynamics 365 as a single source of truth to generate all our invoicing. In our case, our ERP platform is QuickBooks. So we set up a sync to QuickBooks integration which uses Azure functions and to send over the invoice to QuickBooks. And then the invoice is saved. We have multiple legal entries, so our customer information is synced from CRM into QuickBooks, and then we bring the customer ID back from QuickBooks into Dynamics. And in the previous screen, when I created the invoice, it asked me what is the legal entity for which you're creating the invoice, so it will send it to that respective QuickBooks account. Great. This is about the invoice. Now let's get into some of the reporting, right? So a couple of articles that I had shared on LinkedIn during the pandemic. One of them was a cash position report for professional services organizations. The other one was bill on time, get paid on time, the importance of AR report. And some of these are kind of lessons learned in the last couple of years as we've grown as an organization. But let me get into some of the importance of these kind of reports. I'll recap again that with all this effort, you've made Dynamics 365 as the single source of truth. With that, you can, number one, create your AR aging report. So this goes back to, we are a services organization. You need to bill on time. You need to get paid on time. And hence an AR aging report embedded in Teams. and visible to the respective members, in our case, which is the management team, can ensure that you're following up correctly. So let's look at this nice report. Is the AR aging detailed report. At the left, you see which legal entity it's about. In the middle, you will see the different buckets or the aging details, and we've color coded that. So if it's anything is above 60 or 90 days, it's red. Anything between 1 to 30 days is yellow, and then if anything is current, it's white. And so you know that you need to follow up on that particular one that's showing up as red, see what's happening with that customer. And we've created a link right here on this particular form or on this particular BI report, which will actually take you to that invoice within Dynamics. So it gives you an opportunity to follow up. And during your routine weekly scheduled status meetings with the project management team, you can drill into these things and make sure that any bills that are unpaid get attention before they become red or 60 or 90 days overdue. So this is an important report. We have two reports. One is the services report. The other one is the licensing and commission invoicing, because as a CSP, we handle Microsoft licensing for our customers. So we also need to get paid on that on time. This other report is the invoice schedule report. So all our invoicing happens based on the milestone billing schedule or T&M billing schedule coming out of the project management that we do in PSA. So we know then that what the billing schedule will look like for any particular customer. And then that means that we can then month-wise set up all those invoicing schedules, and then anytime the invoice has gone out and has been paid, that is turned to green. If not, it stays as red. So you know which invoices in any particular month have not been paid or have not been sent out yet. So this is an importance of the schedule report, which we used to do in Excel before, and there were times when we would forget to bill our customers. Great. Cash position report. This is another wonderful report. Cash is king and cash flow is queen. For any services company that is dependent on billing on your services and maybe some revenue on licensing, it's important to always know your cash position because eventually payroll needs to happen every month. So we created the cash flow position report, and I'll go to some of the things that we captured here. It's pretty simple. At the very top, you'll see cash on hand, which comes out of what is your bank balance today. AR is all your accounts receivables that you need to collect money on. AP is all the expenses you have to do as a services company, including salaries for that month. And projected AR is invoices that have not been generated, but for which you've done allocation on a project, or for a fixed bid type project when some milestone is going to be due in that month. So that will be projected AR, and which means that by the end of June, for example, your cash position should reflect this, and you should start July with that cash on hand. So we do this 6 months out. You could easily do it for a year or more, thus giving you visibility on your cash position, which is then instrumental in understanding the stability of the organization, but also for planning for growth and investments. This is the billable allocation report. So on the left-hand side, you'll see departments, you'll see team members, and then you'll see billable allocation, nearly for a year. And this is also color-coded, so anything below 50% mark comes up as red, which means that team member is available. Anything between 50 to 80% comes up as yellow, so you know they could be more busy. And anything above 80% comes up as green. So think about this report. If everything is red, you have a tough time, and you need to figure out work for your people, get them billable on projects. And if everything is yellow, you could get more busy. And if everything is green, you need to hire. So looking at this report day in and day out gives you a wonderful pulse on the health of your organization. You can do that for billable allocation. You can also do that for billable and non-billable allocation, and so on and so forth. That report allows you to drill down in somebody's specific allocation for a week, for the next 10 weeks, and so on and so forth. And you can really see what they are booked on. So this is our allocation details from a resource standpoint. Then there is a project overview report. This is another report that comes out of all the project data that is collected in Dynamics 365, where you can see the customer details, name of the project, estimated hours, actual hours, forecasted revenue, so on and so forth, and start and end dates, which gives you a good idea of eventually what forecasted hours are we looking to bill in the coming weeks or months? What revenue do we have today? What revenue can we anticipate, and what's our forecasted revenue? And when certain projects are going to finish. This can be a report that you usually start your Monday morning project status meetings with. from a financial standpoint. This is a project forecasted cash flow report. So this is basically what it's showing you is for fixed bid projects, it's taking data that in the future, whatever milestones I have, or in this month, whatever milestones I have that are due this month or the next month, collect that data. So I know the revenue numbers against that. And then whatever projects I have, and if I've done any future allocations on those projects, that's my forecasted allocations. And all of that can then boil down into a forecasted cash flow report, starting with the current month and then going forward. So you can see that I can expect to make this much revenue if you total all that up in this month and going forward. And this can also give you a pulse on how well you're allocated. It will ensure that your project team is also allocating team members correctly, because this is reviewed during your weekly status meeting with your project management team. And finally, a simple report on the project status. At the very top, we color code, green, yellow, and red, what's remaining, what we've consumed, and what's the actual hours. And then we give some updates on all the tasks, what their current status is. And then at the very bottom, we'll give you some details on anything that's a showstopper, any specific updates that the client is waiting on us, or we are waiting on the client. And this goes out weekly from Dynamics 365 PSA as well. Okay, so we've done all the sales work, we've done the project, and let's say the project goes live. So now you want to make sure that you have a support contract with the customer, and that means the customer needs to be able to create tickets in your system. So we have the Dynamics 365 portal. So customers go to CloudFronts.com, and at the top right-hand corner, they see the portal login. So they can click on that, and when they click on that, they can create tickets, update tickets, see the status of all their tickets, which is then going into Dynamics 365 customer service. So this is an example of a ticket or an account form, and we'll see that we've made some configurations there to assign responsible engineer 1 and responsible engineer or responsible person 2. These are the people who automatically get assigned on that ticket when it is created through the portal by the customer, or when the customer submits an email to support@cloudfronts.com. When that happens, an automated reminder goes out, or an automated email goes out to the customer and to the responsible engineer that, look, you've been assigned a ticket, you need to work on it. And this is what the ticket screen looks like for us. On the left-hand side is all our case details. On the right-hand side is really the timeline, any emails that are tagged against the ticket, or any notes that our team member has added. Anytime a customer submits a ticket which is critical, there are two ways to submit it. You can submit a ticket to support and put the word critical in the support line, or you can create a ticket from the help desk and put the status or the priority as critical. And you will see here that when this was created as a critical ticket, at the very bottom, we have a Twilio SMS and phone integration. So it will send out a phone call to the responsible engineer, and it will also send out an SMS. And this is what the SMS looks like. Hey, look, you need to work on this ticket. And so the engineer can start working on it. Whenever an engineer then goes ahead and adds their notes to the ticket, we created a nice little customization that when every time you add a note, an email will go out to the customer, CC the engineer on the ticket with a nice chronological listing of all the notes that have been added on that particular ticket. So the customer has an idea of where things are headed. Finally, support metrics. So there's another Power BI report that's embedded inside of Teams. You can see some critical tickets, so you can drill into that. You can see tickets that are open, more than a week, so you can drill down on that, and you can see what's on hold and what's not. And finally, you can also click on that link and then actually drill down to that particular ticket within Dynamics from this Power BI report. So all of these reports allow you to run your system well, and starting from sales to your project management, to your billing, to your customer engagement, and then customer service, and then getting all of that data as Power BI reports allows you to run your organization really well in an automated fashion. So to recap, with all this effort, you end up making Dynamics 365 the single source of truth across the organization. The way you do that is by leveraging Power Automate and Power Apps along with Dynamics 365 to drive a lot of this automation. You then make decision making easy because of the Power BI reports that you can embed into Teams, and then do continuous improvements in your processes to drive efficiencies. The result of all of that is increased revenue because you have better visibility into the organization and its growth. So thank you so much for your time today. We hope you like this course. You can connect with me at asia@cloudfronts.com. And if you need any help, we can help your professional services organization automate your processes. Thank you.